Do you like the British guys? You were telling me about this one British guy. We were talking about the guy who started eating a plant-based diet. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. There's a competitor named Pete Dunne, and I think he's from Birmingham, England, or Birmingham, UK, and
Birmingham, Alabama. Got it.
he's not from Alabama, and like he's amazing. Like wrestlers, like there's a class of wrestlers called the cruiserweights. They're like the smaller guys, like lightweight, they weigh like 205 pounds or less. Well, his nickname is the Bruiserweight, and like he's like his whole thing. Like he's great as a face, but he's amazing as a heel because he does this thing called like joint manipulation. Like he'll grab the guy, twist his arm, which that happens all the time. But then he'll just like grab their finger, start pulling it back, and yeah, Pete Dunne is awesome. That's one of the few times that really, as a fan going to these shows, that like I just popped, which is like, you know, you just get up out of your seat.
Oh, you've seen him?
Yes.
Oh,
which is
nice.
weird because, like, you know, a lot of times he was only doing the televised things because he was such a big deal, and we weren't expecting it, and he came out, and we just lost our minds. Like, are you kidding me? Like freaking out. You know, I got it on camera, got fist bump with him, so I was,
nice.
You know, as a grown man, like, hey, guy who's 10 years younger than me, just touch hands with me, I'll be okay. Like, send text message to my wife, fist bump, he done. But he's great. He's fantastic. And yeah, plant-based diet. I do that during the week now, and because like the guy just like got jacked.
Yeah, you sent me those pictures. Yeah,
and so I was like, let me go. So I eat meat a little bit here and there on the weekends, but I go pretty much completely plant-based during the week.
So are you working out? I know you've always worked out here and everywhere. Are you working out specifically for the actual job? Wrestling, or are you just generally doing what you've always done?
Bit of column A, bit of column B. Sometimes I'll work on certain parts. You know, as far as weights, like, all right, you know what? Let me work on shoulders today, or this or that. Like, you know, when it comes time that I'm going to have a match. You know, I'm going to be wrestling without a shirt on, so like I'm really going to focus on those parts, you know, which is it's ironic because like you see guys like in the locker room doing push-ups before a match because they want everything just, hey, I got to look good when I go out there. But yeah, the workout is, you know, I still work out probably 5 days a week. My wife does the same with me. It just depends on what hurts as well.
Yeah.
When I work out.
Were you just sort of in pain a lot when you first started that first week and your body adapted to it? Or okay. So from then on you've been pretty okay.
Yeah. I spent, whenever I was really bad, I spent the whole week not working out. Like it was just, you know, and one thing it taught me a lot was have good posture when you sit, which I'm not doing it right now. But like after being hurt, like it's like, okay, if I sit up straight, this hurts a lot less, you know, and weirdly enough, the seats in my car are heated. Like you can do heated or cool seats, and every time on my way back, no matter if it's 9 degrees or 90 degrees outside, like I'm riding with the heat on the seats.
It helps.
I guess. I think it does.
Yeah.
It might not, but it works for me. So I just work out whatever doesn't hurt that day.
Whatever doesn't hurt that day.
Yeah. Like I'm clearly not doing anything tonight, but tomorrow I'll be back at it.
So as a heel, can I ask, in creating this persona, this character, do you ever wonder that it'll have a negative effect on your psyche?
No.
I mean, obviously you have these, people talk shit about, like, let's say Heath Ledger did the Joker and people go, oh, did it take over his brain and kind of
like
fuck
method
him up?
acting? No, not at all, because I mean, you know, the Violent Gentleman is not a serial killer. You know, he's not just attacking people. It's, you know, hey, once we step in the ring, I step through the ropes. You know, I have a sole purpose, and that's to basically hurt you and then leave the ring. I mean, you know what you signed up for when you stepped in the ring. You know, whether it's a boxing match, an MMA match, you know, whatever. So it's not like the Violent Gentleman's attacking people and putting them in the trunk of his car or anything like that. He's not that kind of Violent Gentleman. So, you know, even if I went full-blown method acting, I would just drink probably twice as much tea as I do now and dress a little nicer on my downtime.
Isn't it more fun in a way? Which you haven't, you know, completely created a babyface character, but it just then thinking about it, isn't it more fun in being the heel? I mean, you get to kind of explore aspects that you're not really allowed to do otherwise in society.
Yeah, you get to say things to people that, you know, if you just said it to somebody in a grocery store, they'd look at you sideways.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, at the end of the day, you don't have people that cheer for you. So, I mean, it's give and take.
Yeah, it's both. Yeah.
You know, if you're a baby face, like, hey, you know what? People are cheering for you. You're the guy.
Right.
You're their number one. They love to see you, the number one, beat the bad guy. Like, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, so it's strange then, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
It's actually, now that I'm thinking, it's actually a weird thing to actually crave. You're actually intentionally trying to get people to boo you.
I want the booze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the, yeah.
It's all about the booze.
It's all about the booze. Nah. Is that what we're promoting here?
Yeah. So, Whataburger, proper 12 whiskey. It'd be a pretty good combination as far as sponsorship.
Oh, yeah.
Everything you don't stand for.
Beating women, let's throw that in there.
No.
Well, I'm saying because I don't stand for it.
Oh, okay. That's
Not
fair.
because I do.
That's fair.
Okay.
Which, that's a whole nother aspect. So there is intergender wrestling. Like men versus women. And that's the other thing too. So like,
is there men versus women?
Yeah. And it's really rad. It's really rad. And the thing is, like,
I don't think I feel good about that.
People don't understand, like, the women wrestlers. Like, back in the day, there was a handful that were like good, but you know, there was a time frame where, especially on the big leagues, WWE, they were just looked at as like, hey, this lady's sexy and she can't really wrestle, but it's eye candy. And like the women now, they're just amazing. Like, they're amazing athletes. You know, I'll fall on this sword. Like, when I was a teenager, which was a long time ago, like, if a women's match came on, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go get popcorn now, or I'm gonna go to the restroom, or go, you know, get something to drink.
Sexist pig.
Because they weren't wrestling. They would have like pillow fight matches and stuff like that. It was really sexist, like mud wrestling. But like now, it's like some of the women's matches are like the ones like I'm looking forward to this match. They had this like just big cage match, and these two teams of women. And this was actually last year. It was these two teams of 4 women, and it was like one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. And it was on like the pay-per-view and everything. You know?
Who was in it?
There was a lady. She's awesome. She's from Australia. Her name's Rhea Ripley. She was in it. There's this one competitor. She's an absolute badass. Her name's Shayna Baszler. Used to be an MMA fighter, like legit
really?
MMA fighter. Yeah. And they were two of the main ones. Like, there was like this captain versus that captain, and just this, you know, the storytelling and like the match itself was just amazing. Like, I remember jumping up off the couch 2 or 3 times. Like, what?
Fantastic.
Yeah, like, and to think that something can affect you or impact you like that,
Yeah.
that makes you that happy that you're like, oh, I'm not in my seat anymore. That's really cool. You know, and I'm hoping, like, so that my dream is to have that moment for somebody watching.
Yeah.
Whether it's like in you know, in the venue, or, you know, or on a YouTube video, or, you know, if TV happens down the road, you're like, did I make anybody pop out of their seat?
Well, what is the overall? So you're training now. So what is the specific goal? You're gonna train and reach a certain point. You're gonna fight in a big show. You guys are gonna do several shows. I mean, what specifically? What are you headed towards?
You know, like, so right now I am with the company, and I'm going through the school and everything. You know, and I get questions asked all the time by people who just don't know how the business works, and I sure as hell don't know how the business works, by the way. But they'll say like, oh, what if you got a call from WWE tomorrow? And I said no, like, I wouldn't do it. Like, I don't want it to be like that, because the level I'm at right now, and the being able to be home, you know, almost every night. Well, I'm home every night, but I'm saying, like, these guys, whenever they travel, they might travel and be away overnight. They're not on the road 48 weeks out of the year. You know what I mean? So, like, when I tell you this is purely a passion project, this isn't a way to get rich, this isn't a way to, you know, to springboard into something else. Like, I just want to go do something very fun and come home to the same support system that got me into this to begin with.
Nice. But did you, even like as a child, did you specifically, was wrestling a thing that you just sort of enjoyed amongst other things? Like, when I was a little kid, I liked, you know, wrestling, and I liked action movies with Van Damme, and I like MC Hammer. It was wrestling was one thing amongst others.
You really
was it
like
like
MC Hammer?
I like MC Hammer. Can't touch this. Was there?
I might not want to.
You didn't like Hammer? It wasn't Hammer time?
It was not Hammer time in the Bloxton household.
Did you like Vanilla Ice?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just checking.
Okay.
It was one thing amongst other things that I liked. For you, was it just one? Was wrestling just one thing amongst others, or did you clearly like wrestling above everything else?
Wrestling and basketball.
Yeah.
Like once I started playing basketball was number one. But I do remember, like, we would have our games when I played high school. They were typically Monday, Tuesday, or Friday, or all 3 days. And this was pre-DVR days, you know, like we didn't have DVRs back then. There was no Twitter, you know, the internet was a thing, but I think it was like dial-up, you know, and AOL was still a thing.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that at the house. But like I remember my basketball coach was like, you know, we got a game. How you feel that you're gonna miss Monday Night Raw?
Oh, really?
Like, he used to give me so much crap about it. Yeah, it was mixed in with everything else. Basketball was something I could reach out and do, you know, every day, and then, like, you know, clearly wrestling was something that I just really enjoyed. I love to watch it. There's a wrestler. He's actually still wrestling now, which is wild. Like, I remember watching him when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and he was a grown guy back then. He's like in his 20s. Rey Mysterio Jr. He was from Mexico, and what I really loved about him, so when I grew up, I was really short. I was a very small guy. Up until like 11th grade, I was like 5'3". It's not a big guy.
Really?
Yeah,
Now
like
you're
I had
tall
like
still.
a growth spurt one summer. So he was like 5'6" as a grown man. He's from Mexico. He wore like this really cool mask, and he still to this day wears, like, his son wrestles now. This is where we are. But like I remember, like, I saved up. I never got an allowance, but I was doing like little odd jobs, and I saved up and I bought a Rey Mysterio mask.
Nice.
You know, I went to my friend's house who had the internet. I ordered it. You know, I gave him the cash for it, or sent in the money order. I don't remember how we handled this back then. But I remember getting this mask and I put it on. I was so excited. And just like, I got my Rey Mysterio mask, and I was like running around the house, and the thing was like a blind spot, just like a big blind spot. So like I was like missing my beanbag when I was jumping on it, and it was like my first big wrestling purchase, which is geeked about it.
But can I ask, so what would you say to somebody who has something that they're passionate about in life, that they've always had a passion for, but they might think it's silly, or they might think people look at them as weird. They might think they're a little too old to do it. I mean, what would you say to them about that?
Take the chance. I hate when, you know, the idea, the concept, thinking of, I don't want to look back and say what if, and I waited a little long to do this. Part of it is, again, you know, and I'm not trying to make this like this love story thing, but it's having a support system. And, you know, my wife has been my biggest fan.
Nice.
You know, my biggest support system. Like I said, you know, given past relationships, I haven't always had that.
Right.
You know, and this is a whole nother level, and it's, you know, but if you don't have that support system, either leave what you got going on, find that support system, or do it out of spite. Be successful out of spite. Just to be like, hey, you know what? I'm here where I'm at now. Up yours. You did nothing to get me here, so you will not reap any of these benefits. You know, there will be nothing that I do for, not saying be like a bastard about it, but like, hey, what I do is I'm doing this for me. And what I'm doing now, I'm doing it for me. But it's, you know, I have a person in my life to thank for that very much. So, I mean, never give up on your dreams. Is it late to start your dreams? Sometimes, yeah, but I'd rather start, you know, they say better late than never, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And one of the friends from these NXT shows just called me. It might have been week 1 or week 2, and he's like, look, man, I'm just gonna be real with you. I'm in another state right now on work, but I was just thinking about, I'm so proud of you that you're doing this. You're actually doing this, and you know, whenever your first show, I'm gonna be there. Like, I'm proud. Like, I'm super excited. I don't want you to tell me anything. I want everything to be a surprise, and that's just like having like a bigger support system than just my wife. Which she's support enough. Don't get me wrong, but it's
You think you'd be doing it if you weren't with your wife?
Yeah, I think I would. If I was single, I would. A lot of it is who you're with can beat you down. Yeah. You know, and like I said, I haven't always had the person that supported me. Right. You know, you have somebody that's like, hey, you're that paycheck. You support me, but I'm not going to reciprocate, you know? And so to have somebody that says, hey, you work hard, So go do this. If this is what makes you happy, go do it. And so, yeah, it makes me happy. I'm geeked. I'm excited. I'm ready for the next chapter. That's really all I gotta say. This video's gonna end like he died later that week. Rest in peace, and have the like.
That's gonna be the end of it. R.I.P. Mark Bloxton.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I was just generally gonna say, yeah, that I did find that generally inspiring. The actual, I mean, because you're about my age, you're a little younger than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little better looking.
Yeah.
Little bit.
Yeah.
You
have a perfectly shaped head.
That's a strange thing to say to somebody. I mean, it's not negative.
You've heard that before, though, I'm sure.
I don't think so.
You got a good grade.
That was an even stranger thing. But yeah, we are, you know, you said you're in your mid-30s.
Yep.
And to actually pursue it now, that's the thing that I found really inspiring. You first told me about it, and I said, yeah, that's really cool, man. I just think it's really cool for you to go to this awesome passion project.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an underdog kind of thing, you know what I mean?
It is. It's definitely, can the old guy do it? The answer is yes.
My man.
The old guy, he can do it. He's gonna do it.
My man.
Man.
Violent gentleman. Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah. Follow me on Twitter at Marky Whipwreck. Go to ccwrestling.biz. That's the company that I work for with this. Top Rope Wrestling Academy. If you have a dream, go out there. They got a ton of videos on YouTube. Go watch these videos. That's pretty much all I have. If you
follow Violent Gentleman Miles Blackwell on Twitter.
Yeah, my Twitter profile for that one, so I had two.
I follow both of them.
Yeah, it's at VG_CCW. Maybe put the thing in the description.
Yeah, I'll put it on.
Okay, cool.
I'm a professional YouTuber.
Sounds good. All right, that's all I got.
I love you, man. You inspire me. You're awesome. This whole journey inspires me. You ruined it. I'm not releasing this video.